The late Bruce
The
Linton.
late
That
Bruce
is
Linton, and it's not
too
good.
soon for that. So Canopy Rivers, how much of Canopy Rivers does Canopy Growth own?
We're about a third.
1/3.
And so we structured it where we're about a third. We also have an advantageous voting structure, because that way we can actually feel comfortable sharing all of our best practices and not having them swooped away if you know, a big tobacco firm decided to come in and try and grab up the portfolio.
I want to go back to something you just said there. You said if some big tobacco company comes in and starts buying up all the shares, is this something that you've experienced recently?
No, I just, you know, I think I speak pretty positively of at least one player in the alcohol sector, obviously. And
good beer.
Yeah, well, we think, you know, as pharma gets more and more advanced, and you saw our announcement today with Dr. Ware joining as our Chief Medical Officer, we're really pushing the pace on that. It's kind of all tied together, right? You start with patients, you build out a platform, that platform then can supply the party market. The party market gets sophisticated, which turns into advanced product, which can then be branded. And behind that, you're doing all this work so that you can have a great medical portfolio. And if you do that right, then you have this global thing, and it just keeps going. And so, you know, I kind of, there was a reason we bought back Canopy Health, the portion we didn't own. Then we could put big actors across the whole thing. And so it kind of, you know, I bet from the outside it almost looks like a plan.
Yeah, well, that's just it. There's a common discussion going on in the cannabis space from observers and participants who say they look at certain acquisition strategies and say this doesn't make a lot of sense to us. Then they look at Canopy Growth and they say this is making perfect sense. And I think in large part that suggests why you have the valuation you do, why you have the steady sort of pricing climb with a lack of volatility. Now, is the rate of acquisition going to slow down at all now? Have you filled your boots and your boat with everything you need, or is there more out there?
No, I just think because from the time I started, the idea of raising cash was to spend it to build assets. And there was a stage maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where buying tangible assets to make into bigger licensed things made sense for us.
Right.
We've moved through that, and as you saw, I think Sunday we put the press release out about Vert Maribel being licensed, so we have now 3 greenhouse locations. We have a handful of licensed or about to be licensed, we think, or being built out to be licensed indoor places in Canada. What we're thinking about on top of that is a whole bunch of the steps that result from having your capacity of production figured out.
Yeah.
And so then you start thinking about medical. You start thinking about the evolution of adult choice.
Sure.
And so I'm not really in the market to buy other things. And I'll, you know, we probably have made more mistakes trying more things than any other company in the sector, for sure. But once you figured it out, if I buy somebody else's assets and they've made the mistakes we made 4 years ago and I pay full price for them, what I'm going to do is walk in and rip everything out and put it back again the way I want it.
Right.
That gets to be pretty hard to swallow at high premiums. And I think we just now are at the stage where we can keep executing our own way.
Yeah, you bet. If you look at the map back there, there's all of your locations around the world currently. And there's been a couple of companies making some moves into Africa. I don't see a little dot on Africa yet, and I don't see a dot in anywhere around China. Is China never going to be part of the medical marijuana community?
Well, so in order, I think Southern Africa is interesting, and you know we are fairly careful because we have a business model. I'm not looking at saying that I've given somebody $5 and I'm now in a minority position. Really, our business is to run global businesses, which means we have to have control or enter an agreement by which we will be able to take control. And the simple reason is there's too much friction and inefficiency in being a participant in something if you're not driving it and controlling it. That's just not for us. So that's how we do it. Southern Africa, I think, is going to be interesting, and you know we cover off in a bunch of places. Asia at large and China specifically, you know, obviously there's a lot of hemp. I think it's categorized officially as birdseed grown in China. There's some potential, something's going to go on there. You know, people talk about China, India, other markets. They're coming along. We're not seeing this like an aggressive march. Right. And given the whole UN structure, I don't know that transiting cannabis around is a very soon or big or likely thing for long term. So you have to say, is the domestic market going to generate sufficient demand for the amount I'm going to invest? And if you can tell me that the domestic market in China is going to open up and be completely receptive to THC-driven medicines, we're all over it. I'm just not sure that that's the case yet.
Yeah, that's an interesting contemplation. 1.8 billion high people.
We should start with North Korea, maybe.
Yeah, actually.
Take the edge off all that marching.
The political class in general, I think, should try it out.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it there. We'll come back to you soon. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching. If you think that was good, check out my videos on the left or subscribe on the right, or go one over a little bit more. Click on the little bell. You'll get a notification every time we do something new.